I'm Indy Neidell.
And I'm Burns.
And this is the Baseball History Time Machine.
2 days late and $2 short.
2 days late, too. Yeah, that's a good slogan for today, because this episode is coming out 2 days later than it is supposed to.
And would you like to elaborate why that is?
Because I was still way up in Dalarna, which is a part of Sweden, up in central Sweden. It's like what Swedes consider old Sweden, right?
Yeah.
And it ends up near the Norwegian border, or it ends up at the Norwegian border. And I was there for 4 weeks, and my wife I had to work, but also had to grill and drink, and go inner tubing.
As is your duty on holiday.
Those are my things.
Duties,
like
right?
Tyrion Lannister says, I drink and I know things.
I grill and I drink.
I grill and I drink and I write history. But I didn't come back to Stockholm till Saturday night, so we could not record this masterpiece on time.
But did you have fun?
I did have fun. I got a lot done. It's nice that there's only a few thousand people that live in Älvdalen, so everybody knows everybody, and it's great. And we've been there a few years in a row, so now my wife, her family comes from there, right? And of course, at first I knew her family and her friends and people she grew up with. But now I have my own gang there. I have my own friends there, which is nice. That I don't have to, like, if I want to do something, I don't have to say, "Hey, can you ask?" I call my guys. And stuff.
Exactly. They're like one of us.
Yeah, one of us. I know some of the local cats.
As you should.
You really should.
As is your duty.
Shall we get back to the pictures?
We shall get back to the pitches. Let's go.
Oh wait, one other thing first that's not actually baseball related. On Wednesday, August 19th, I'm doing an online lecture for the Smithsonian Associates. It's about the Romanian front in World War I, which is an overlooked front, yet one that was very important for months and changed the course of the war, and also had an impact on what was soon to happen to the then Russian Empire.
Yeah, okay. That's cool. Wednesday, August 19th, yeah?
Yeah, and for tickets, you can go to smithsonianassociates.org/ticketing and then click on the calendar.
But hold on, this is not the first lecture you've done for them.
No, I did one a couple months ago on Russia's Brusilov offensive from 1916, the largest battle of the First World War, one of the 2 or 3 largest in world history still, and nobody's heard of it today, even though it was of colossal importance to the war. And then in November, I'm doing another one for them on the political intrigues during the build-up to Russia's February Revolution in 1917, which deposed the Tsar and began soon enough the short-lived Russian Republic.
Why don't you give a lecture for them on maybe something about baseball?
That was actually the plan, part of the plan when they got hold of me. The woman from the Smithsonian who first contacted me had seen my World War I and World War II YouTube series, and she was a fan. And it turned out not only was she from Houston like me, but she went to the same high school as me many years later, right?
Okay.
But she's a rabid Astros fan like me. And when it had been set that I do that first World War I lecture, she tried to get me aboard to do a lecture on something to do with the founding of the National League, since that was 150 years ago this year.
And it didn't work.
Well, it seems someone up there in the powers that be doesn't believe one can be an expert in more than one historical field. So, for real. So no,
that can't be real.
So no, it hasn't happened, but it might in future, because now that I've established myself with them as a lecturer, and hopefully grow a following with them through this series, perhaps they will allow it.
So the good people out there listening to this, you should actually check out this lecture and maybe make it happen.
They should. Huh? Well, everyone should.
And now back to baseball.
All right, okay. What is there that's more fun to talk about than old baseball?
I have an answer.
Nothing, right? Nothing. So I shall continue. Although my chair is squeaking on the floor, I shall continue where I left off last time, covering those pitchers who struck out 19 or more men in a major league game. Now, I had just gone over Luis Tiant's magnificent 1968 season.
When he had his 19 strikeout game.
Yes.
It was July.
It was in July, right?
Yes.
And he did it in 10 innings, striking out the side in the top of the 10th during a 0-0 match of his Indians versus the Twins to reach 19 Ks. He had 16 after 9. And then 2 singles gave his Indians a 1-0 win in the bottom of the 10th.
Yeah, well, good thing he doesn't pitch for the Marlins today. They would have yanked him long before he even got close.
I assume... The look on your face. I wish you guys could see the look on his face. I assume you're referring to Eury Perez.
I sure am, and it bothers me. It really grinds my gears.
What grinds my gears is the Marlins were ahead 8-0.
Dude, exactly.
And the All-Star break is just coming up, and so they couldn't leave him in to make history. Even it's not like it's always getting tired. Wow, we've got a 1-run lead. You have an 8-run lead, and he's throwing a perfect game.
Yeah,
and they took him out.
And they almost lost that one too. They pulled him after 7 perfect innings, and the A's scored like 5 runs in the 8th and 3 more in the 9th, and the Marlins won 9-8 after being ahead 8-0 for 7 innings.
7 perfect
innings. Yeah.
Okay, I will say sometimes analytics can go too far.
You think?
He's not the only guy though pulled during a perfecto.
Okay, who else has been pulled from a perfecto?
Let's see. Rich Hill in 2016.
Okay.
Blake Snell after 5 in 2018. Rich Hill was after 7. Both Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer in 2022 after, I think, 7 and 6 innings, and now Perez.
I remember the Scherzer one at least, and I mean those are some massive names.
Those are massive names. Yeah. Perez isn't as big a name as them, but for the most part, those guys were all recovering from injury, and Perez kind of was too. It was his 3rd start back after a leg strain, not knee, maybe knee, but leg strain.
I still hate it. You
want to hear a funny perfect game that wasn't a perfect game?
Oh, you're gonna have to elaborate, but sure.
All right, sidetrack accepted.
Yeah,
I offered it. I threw the ball up. You hit the ball.
Hook, line, sinker. Let's go.
Now I'm guessing a lot of people out there know this one, but on June 23rd, 1917, Babe Ruth was pitching for the Red Sox against the Washington Senators.
Yeah. And who was pitching for Washington?
Doc Ayers.
I've never heard of him.
9-year career, league average, more or less. Maybe a bit better than league average. But he was like 50-50 starter reliever. Not a bad guy to have on your team.
No, of course not.
And he was starting against Babe Ruth.
A way better guy to have on your team. Like Shohei Ohtani.
Very. Okay, if I had to choose between Doc Ayers and Babe Ruth, I think 9 times out of 10 I'd go Babe Ruth.
I think 10 times out of 10 I'd go Babe Ruth, to be honest with you.
So anyhow, Ruth walks the first batter.
Okay.
And then, in the words of an article in the Pittsburgh Press, Ruth became riled on the decision on balls and agreed to stand the expense of a pair of glasses for umpire Owens if they would help his vision. The argument that ensued grew so hot that Babe landed a portside swing on Owens' countenance and was ejected from further participation in the festivities.
He took a swung at an umpire and he punched him in the face.
He punched him in the face. He hit him in the face.
Okay, but was he fined or was he suspended? There's a big distinction.
I think, though I'm not sure, that in terms of suspension, that he got a 10-day suspension since he did not appear again for the Red Sox until July 3rd, which was exactly 10 days later. But I do not know about a fine.
This is also really important. 10 days or 10 games? 10 days. I take 10 days. If I could swing at an umpire...
And he's a pitcher. It's 2 starts max.
100%. Yeah. I take a swing. Absolutely take a swing. But then also, can you imagine doing that today? But wait. How is this a perfect game if he walked the first...
Well, he's not even in the game, right? He's out of the game.
Okay.
Okay, Ruth and catcher Pinch Thomas were ejected, and Slam Agnew came in as catcher.
Pinch and Slam?
Pinch and Slam. Slam Agnew's names were Samuel Lester Agnew, like Sam Agnew, Slam Lester Slam.
Okay. But what about Pinch?
This one I looked up because I had no idea.
Okay.
Chester David Thomas's Saber bio says he was known as, this is a quote, everyone out there, known as Chet, Chess, Chubby Chester, Chatterer Chet, Tom, Tommy, the Golden West receiver, the Kansan, the baseball populace, Goat, and Pinch, the sobriquet that became the enduring nickname among them. Thomas's brother said he was at a loss as to where it came from, although Thomas was most frequently called Chet by the Boston Scribes. Perhaps his record as a pinch hitter, he had .419 as a pinch hitter, from 1913 to 1918, had all to do with the nickname. Okay,
hang on. Can we just back up? There's some gold in there. Chess, Chet, Chubby Chester.
Yeah.
Chatterer Chet. And then what was the last one? The baseball populist.
I like the Golden West receiver.
Yes, and what was the other one you say? The Kansan. Very simply put.
I'm assuming he was from Kansas.
From Kansas. Yeah. The Kansan. Okay, well now we know.
Dude, and he hit over 400 as a pinch hitter during the Red Sox. They won the pennants in 15, 16, and 18.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, now we know. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, back to the game. So Slam Agnew comes in as, I can't say it without laughing now. That's a great nickname. So Slam Agnew comes in as the new catcher with a runner on first. And Ernie Shore comes in as the pitcher.
Okay.
Now, Shore only gets 5 warm-up pitches. That's it, because, this was unexpected, right? Yeah. And obviously no one was warming up in the bullpen because there's no outs in the first inning.
Exactly.
And on top of that, Shore was the starter just 2 days earlier.
Okay, I like how this is set up so far.
Okay, Ray Morgan, the guy on first, tries to steal second and is thrown out by Thomas. And then Ernie Shore retires the next 26 straight batters.
So he was perfect.
He did not allow a runner to reach first base. He got 27 straight outs.
But it's not a perfect game.
It's not. It isn't, but because he didn't pitch the whole game.
No, he didn't pitch the whole game.
But according to that Pittsburgh Press article, which is from July 16th, so 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
Quote, no matter what historians may think about the legitimacy of that no-hit, no-man reached first game pitched by Ernie Shore, he receives credit for the performance in the official records of the American League. For the benefit of the fans who are interested in the feat, a scribe wired to William Harridge, Secretary of the American League, to ascertain whether he would recognize it. It brought back the following reply. Ernie Shore is credited with a no-hit game in the official scores of June 23rd.
We've covered a lot of wrongs on this podcast.
Yeah.
Many and egregious omissions and people being cheated because of ballot votes being counted wrong.
Yeah.
And there's a whole thing that have really grinded me. But this is pretty good from baseball. Yeah, I love this that he got credit for that, because to retire 20 to come in, first of all, you are cold. You had 5 pitches. You pitched 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And you strike out 26 guys in a row.
He didn't strike him out. He got out.
Got him out.
Boy, if this would be the 27K club, that'd be great.
That would have been insane. Yeah. But that is phenomenal. So I am really, really good that somebody actually took the time to send the American League an actual letter saying,
Can we please?
Can we do good?
I love that it happened because Babe Ruth punched the umpire in the face.
So how come you got credited for this? Well, you see, Babe actually swung at a guy.
And Babe Ruth was a strong guy.
No, he's not a small dude.
If you can hit the ball 550 feet.
Can you imagine how much a punch would land?
Yep, and he was a lefty, so that was a lefty
hook. Hook. You think he squared up, or you think he just slogged him?
I think he was angry and he just slogged him.
He slogged him?
Yeah. He was a street fighter, man. Ruth was a poor boy from
fair.
Baltimore. Okay, because of this, I think I have to keep sidetracking.
Okay.
We're getting back to Luis Tiant's 3-year skid after 1968, which is what I said last time, is what I was going to start with today.
But what do you have to sidetrack about now?
If I'm talking about Ernie Shore's non-perfect game. By the way, Ernie Shore should have faced Ernie Banks. That would have been great. Ernie Banks versus
the Battle of the Ernies?
Yeah, or Banks versus Shore.
That's actually
no.
Okay.
Well, I mean, but Ernie Banks wasn't born then.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to talk about Ernie Shore's non-perfect game, I have to talk about the most famous non-perfect game in history.
Okay.
The perfect game that Harvey Haddix of the Pittsburgh Pirates lost May 26, 1959.
How is it possible to lose a perfect game? No one reaches bases. What is it, a forfeit?
Well, I shall tell you.
Okay.
The kitten, for that was Haddix's nickname. It's true.
Why is he?
And I don't know why he was called the kitten.
That is not striking fear into anybody.
I mentioned in one episode in season 1 that the only old ball player from the 50s I ever met was Sully Hemus, who was he was a player, but then he was the Cardinals manager. Yeah. And when he was in his 90s, he lived in Houston. He lived in the same building as my dad.
That's right. I remember
and
the story.
I sent him, and this is 2014. I said I'm a baseball historian. I sent up a note to him, and I got to meet with him, talk to him for an hour. Yeah. And when Harvey Haddix was a rookie, and they roomed together and stuff.
That's so
was
cool.
Remember I said what was the kitten like? And he's like, he was inscrutable, like Charlie Morton, like Charlie Morton. No, he's like, you never had any idea
what is going on. Yeah.
Well, the kitten was not feeling sharp the night in Milwaukee when he threw what Life magazine called the best game ever pitched.
Oh wow!
This is a quote from Life magazine.
Mm-hmm.
It was warm and muggy, and Haddix was tired. Besides, he had to keep munching cold pills to relieve a heavy cough. But his slider, which pitchers called a nickel curve, was still sharp.
Another great baseball movie set up. Come on, Hollywood. Do something for us.
Yeah. After 9 innings, Burns. After 9 innings, I tell you, not a single Milwaukee Brave had reached first base. Now, these are the Braves that had just gone to 2 straight World Series.
That's right.
And they featured sluggers Hank Aaron, Eddie Matthews, and Joe Adcock.
Well, everybody knows the first two, but I don't. I'm gonna admit that I do not know who Joe Adcock is.
Joe Adcock was a DH before the DH existed. He was slow as molasses, but he had power to burn.
Okay.
And so he'd only be used when
you need him.
So in 17 years, he only topped 500 plate appearances 4 times, but he still cranked out 336 homers. And he even once had a 4-homer game.
That's some serious power.
He had more straight-up power than either Aaron or Matthews, and that's saying a lot.
That's insane.
And none of those guys that night could touch Harvey Haddix. But at the end of 9 innings, the Pirates hadn't gotten any runs either. Now, I read that Dick Groat, who would win the next year the 1960 batting title and the MVP, and Roberto Clemente, who is Roberto fucking Clemente,
of course.
They were not playing that day for the Pirates, but still, the Pirates had chances to score, but they blew them all. So the game went into extra innings. The 10th, the 11th, the 12th. Kitten is still perfect, but the Pirates still failed to score. And Dick Stewart misses a 2-run homer by like 2 feet in the 10th. It's just caught they didn't have a track, but it's caught right in front of the fence. But no joy. And then comes the 13th inning.
I guess this is the faithful one, right?
You guess right. The top is uneventful for the Pirates. Oh, they manage another single.
Get this guy some runs, goddammit.
Then in the bottom of the frame, Felix Mantilla. I liked him. My mom liked him a lot.
Okay.
He grounds to third, but he's safe at first on a throwing error, right? So the perfect game is over, but it's still a no-hitter, still a 12-inning no-hitter, all right, in the 13th inning. And Eddie Matthews sacrificed bunts Mantilla to second.
Matthews hit over 500 homers, and he bunts?
Because back then people played baseball. Right?
Fair. Sometimes the bunt is needed. I hate the bunt, but if you need the bunt...
obviously no one's getting any hits off of Harvey Haddix.
Of course. You have to... Drastic times requires drastic...
And now there's a guy on second base and just the 1 out, right? So there's no force out.
Okay.
So Haddix intentionally walks Hank Aaron to set up for a hopeful inning-ending double play because they only need 2 outs. And Joe Adcock comes up to bat, and Adcock is really, really slow.
Can you imagine being in that situation and these 3 guys are your next 3 that you have to face? So you walk.
Well, Matthews bunts. Matthews bunts,
and then you walk Hank Aaron.
Yeah, and to face Joe Adcock.
So now
a guy who hit 4 home runs in 1 game.
So now you got 2 on.
Yeah.
Right? First and second, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And you got... Okay. All right.
What a trio. Okay, just so you know, Hank Aaron, Eddie Matthews, and Joe Adcock hit 1,703 career home runs combined.
This is Pirates Golden Age, right?
This was the Braves.
The Braves. Sorry.
Yeah. But this was. But the Braves, they won the World Series in '57. They lost in 7 games in '58. This was a Braves absolute golden age. And they had Warren Spahn, Lou Burdett on the mound. They were.
But how come no one's? I've never heard of Adcock. Like the other guys, I've heard their names.
But Adcock wasn't much. He should have been a DH. He's like Jeff Burrows. He should have been a DH. He wasn't much good in the field, so he didn't play 150 games. He didn't play 100.
He's not a professional athlete. He's a hitter.
Boy, was he a hitter.
Yeah,
he was,
Okay.
And what happens is, with those 2 guys on, Adcock hits a home run to right field, ending the no-hitter and ending the game. But Felix Mantilla touches home plate. Now, that's the winning run, right?
Okay.
Right? Hank Aaron sees this and heads for the dugout. But Adcock doesn't notice Aaron running for the dugout, and so he rounds the bases for his home run.
Why did Hank Aaron do that? Like that?
He thought the ball had landed inside the park and the game was over when Mantilla scored, right? So the umpire calls Adcock out for passing Aaron on the base paths, and he says the final score is 2-0, not 3-0. But National League President Warren Giles rules Adcock's hit a double, and the game a 1-0 win for the Braves.
So on one single hit of Kitten Haddix.
Yeah.
Dude, that sucks.
I know. And check this out. You want to make it suck more. Something Haddix also had going against him that he didn't know. There was a banquet in 1989 for the 30th anniversary of that game. And Braves pitcher Bob Buell, he was not the pitcher of the actual game. That was Lou Burdett, but who also went the distance. But Buell was there.
Yeah.
And Buell tells Haddix that Pirates all-star catcher Smokey Burgess had been crouching high that game, exposing his signs to Haddix, also to the Braves bullpen. So they were stealing signs, and they were the whole game. The Braves were relaying signs to the Braves hitters, except Hank Aaron, who refused, but everyone else did not refuse. And they would put a towel high or low when it was a fastball or a curveball coming, which Buell claims were the only pitches Haddix used that day, no matter what Life magazine says about a slider. And that tidbit came from a Sports Illustrated article from 2009.
Okay, so Harvey Haddix was sick. He was pitching against the NL champs with a 1-2-3 punch that hit over 1,700 homers in total.
Yeah.
And they were stealing signs, and he still threw 12 perfect innings.
Yeah.
Do you know how much stuff you have to have if the guys know what's coming?
For 12 innings?
For 12 innings, they know exactly. They are being telegraphed every single pitch, and they still can't hit you.
Yeah, still can't hit you.
That is insane.
Yeah.
This belongs in the Hall of Fame. This in itself should be like.
But it's legend. When I was a kid, it was legendary. I don't know how many kids out there listen to us, but it's still legendary
for him
now.
To say that on the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, he does.
Do you know what swagger I would have had?
Yeah.
As the kitten, to know that these dudes knew what was coming and they couldn't hit me.
Yeah, they knew, and it was only 2 pitches too, and they still couldn't hit him.
You have a 50% chance.
And here's the thing. Haddix apparently didn't even need any fielding miracles because the Braves didn't even have close to hit those 12 innings. Bill Mazeroski, right?
Yeah.
He's playing second base behind Haddix, and he's like the greatest fielding second baseman ever. And he says there were 0 spectacular defensive plays by anyone, and it was like the easiest game he's ever played.
So just the stuff was just unreal that day.
Yeah. You know what? To Harvey Haddix, man.
To Harvey, goddamn.
The
kitten. There we go. Cheers.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, though.
Apex predator.
In 1991, MLB changed the definition of a no-hit game to, and I quote, a game in which a pitcher or pitchers complete a game of 9 innings or more without allowing a hit. So both Haddix's and Shore's games are removed from the list, technically. But the legend lives on.
The legend, we cannot allow the legend to die.
No, of course not. But everybody, most of my baseball friends know about Harvey Haddix's game.
Okay,
but maybe the younger generation doesn't.
I need to somehow find that magazine with the. I need it. That's what I need.
Okay.
I need to frame it. I'll frame it like the Declaration of Independence in my house. I swear to God. Are we now going to go back to the legend of Mr. Senor. Luis Tiant and those 3 years of him kind of huzzah.
Okay, after his 21-9 160 ERA performance in 1968, Tiant led the AL in losses in 1969, going 8-20 with a 3.71 ERA, which was actually pretty much league average ERA since the league offense jumped when they lowered the mound and changed the strike zone.
Of course, yeah. So what happened to him? What was the...
Well, it might have been morale. I mean, the Indians were the worst team in the AL that year. They had four starting position players with negative WAR, right? And they had their worst finish since 1914, losing 99 games in 1969, despite having Tiant and Sudden Sam McDowell as pitching anchors.
I think they should change that from negative WAR to just WBR.
Oh yeah,
wins below replacement.
That's great.
Wubber. We should just change it to.
You're right. They had 4 players that had positive Wubber.
There we go. I'm for it. Okay, so how did Sudden Sam do in '69?
Sudden Sam was an all-star. He won 18 games. We talked to him a little last time.
Guy.
And he led the majors with 279 strikeouts, leading the AL for the 4th time in 5 years. I mean, Sudden Sam was awesome.
Love that dude. Yeah.
One day, I'll have to come up with a reason when I do the 300 strikeout pitchers. I've already covered a few of them, but Sudden Sam will be that he'll get his day.
We should do like a thing where maybe it's like a bonus thing for maybe Patreon or something like that. Where we go separately, and then we rank our favorite nicknames.
Oh yeah, okay. Sudden Sam.
So Sudden Sam is great. Bristol is great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some brilliant ones out there. The Kitten is obviously amazing. And then maybe we pick like our top 100, and we enter them into kind of a draft, and then we pick, and we try and fill out the position
and
players.
we do a simulation.
Yes,
with
yes, but just with the coolest nicknames. Yeah. That's an idea.
I'd be totally.
I'm down for that. That's gonna be sick.
I'm absolutely up for that.
We should do that.
That
would be so
great.
much fun.
After 1969, Tiant was traded to the Twins. In 1970, he won his first 6 decisions, right?
Okay.
And it looked like 68 Tiant was back, but his shoulder was super sore, and the doctor found he had a crack in the bone, right?
Ooh.
So he was out for 10 weeks, and when he came back, he went 1-3 at the end of the year. In 1971, in spring training, he messed up a muscle in his ribs, and he wasn't pitching at all well, so the Twins just released him. They didn't trade him or anything. They just released him, right? Yep. The Braves picked him up, but they wouldn't even bring him up to the majors after a short stint in the minors. The Red Sox then got him in their minor league system, and then they brought him up to the major leagues.
And he was back?
No, he was not.
Oh my God.
According to the Boston Globe, the latest investment by the Red Sox looked about as sound as taking a bag full of money and throwing it off of Pier 4 into the Atlantic.
Being flamed like that by the local newspaper is crazy.
Well,
Ouch.
And to be fair, he lost his first 6 decisions.
Okay.
So he's 0-6. He was sent to the bullpen, and he finished the season 1-7 with a 4.85 ERA and a negative .4 WAR or a positive .4 WUBR. The glass is always the bases are always half full.
WUBR is crazy.
Now people were surprised that Luis Tiant was still on the 40-man roster, Boston's 40-man roster in the spring of '72.
I mean, I'm surprised he's still on the roster.
reliever Sparky Lyle had been traded to the Yankees. So Red Sox manager Eddie Casco thought that Tiant might help out in the bullpen.
Please tell me he did.
He helped out as a spot starter in both short and long relief, and from mid-August, he was in the starting rotation for good after pitching a 3-hitter and a 2-hitter like in a row, right?
Nice.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Boston had climbed into a tight race with the Yankees, Orioles, and Tigers. And with Tiant now, not as their best pitcher, as their best player, they even took over first place in September. Now, starting August 19th, Tiant threw 4 straight shutouts, 40 straight shutout innings, and in the 10-game period he pitched, starting with those 4, he went 9-1 with 6 shutouts and 0.82 ERA, and his sole loss was 3-2 to the Yankees. Then on October 3rd, the Red Sox were half a game behind the Tigers after a loss the day before, knocked them out at first, and they've got 2 games against the Tigers. Right?
This is beautiful.
So, but Tiant squared off against Woody Fryman and those Tigers, and he gave up just 2 earned runs, but the Red Sox only scored once, and the division went to Detroit.
Get my boy some runs, bro. But that's clutch. Six shutouts. 6 shutouts, and to have an ERA of 0.82.
I will tell you this. Here's a paragraph from Tiant's Sabre bio.
I love this.
Here's a quote, right? Before the second game of a twilight doubleheader against the Orioles on September 20th, the fans rose to their feet as Luis walked to the bullpen to warm up and gave him such an ovation that his teammates joined in. The crowd spent most of the evening chanting, "Louis, Louis, Louis," as their hero recorded out after out. When he came up to bat in the bottom of the 8th on his way to another shutout, the crowd again rose to give him an ovation that continued throughout his at-bat, the break between innings, and the entire top of the ninth.
Wow.
Larry Claflin, the veteran Boston Herald sports writer, wrote he'd never heard a sound like it at a game, unless it was the last time Joe DiMaggio went to bat in Boston. Carl Yastrzemski, who had one of baseball's most famous Septembers only 5 years earlier, said, "I've never heard anything like that in my life, but I'll tell you one thing. Tiant deserved every bit of it."
Oh, man, you're right. It's hard not to love Luis Tiant.
Tiant was basically a reliever the first half of the season, and then he nearly pitched the Red Sox to the pennant in the second.
That's insane.
And he went 15-6, most of it in second half. Yeah. He led the majors with a 1.91 ERA. That's his second time below 2, and only Hal Newhouser and Sandy Koufax had done that twice since 1920, besides Tiant at the time. Koufax did it 3 times. But, yeah.
Friend of the pod, Hal Newhouser.
Oh, yeah.
Friend of the pod. Yeah. I'd like to say the Newhouser family is friend of the pod in my books. Friend of the pod.
Hey, if the Koufax family wants to send us any
100%. You can be a friend of the pod as well.
I love Prince Hal. And Sandy Koufax, the left arm of God. Those are great nicknames.
Nicknames, insane.
And I'll tell you what, he was back for good.
I love that.
He won Comeback Player of the Year.
I love a good comeback story because it sounded like this dude was like...
It was
unraveling.
He was 30 years old. Right?
It was unraveling thing.
And
you think about it now, right?
Yeah.
Like, look at Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
Like, he got traded away, and then...
Because they thought it's over.
Yeah, they thought he was done, and then he was even better.
Four straight Cy Youngs.
After 30, then he was... Dude, he was a freak after 30.
Well, as for Tiant...
Aged like a fine wine.
So that was 72 with Tiant. Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Only pitching half the season as a starter. In 1973, he won 20 games for the second time.
Jeez.
He did it again in 1974, winning his 20th game with his 6th shutout already August 23rd. He won 20 games already in August.
Yeah.
And he was a top thought for not just a Cy Young Award, but for MVP as well. But in his he had 8 more starts after that. He went just 2-5 during those to finish the season 22-13.
But I remember Jeff Burrows won the MVP, but who won the Cy Young?
Catfish Hunter won the Cy Young. Tiant finished 4th.
That's right. What was his? What was his first name? Catfish Hunter.
Jim.
Jim. That's right. I always think John Jim. Yeah. Okay. What happened to Tiant's last part of that season?
Boston happened. They were 7 games up in first place. In August 23rd, when they were 7 games in first place, but they went on a terrible skid. They went on a world-class bad skid. They went on a legendary, never-to-be-forgotten skid. Tiant's 5 losses came in a row in his next 6 starts with the Red Sox, and he was shut out the first 3 of them. Didn't matter what he gave up. 1 run, 2 runs, it didn't matter. And in all of those 8 starts that he went 2-5 in, he only had 1 bad outing. Every other time he gave up 0, 1, 2 runs, right? And the Red Sox blew their 7-game lead and finished 7 games behind the Orioles in 3rd place. And it's baseball.
It's the same with like that insane stat that I shared in the group the other day with was it 7 decisions going against Skeens. 7 decisions. He lost 7 in a row because
it's not his fault.
It's not his fault. Yeah.
But this was Tiant. The Red Sox did a Pirates. They did a Pirates. So Tiant got a Skeens. I'm going to read you another quote from his Sabre bio about why he was so popular.
Okay.
The Red Sox had recently been a fractured team, but Luis kept his teammates laughing, largely by making fun of them and himself. He called Yastrzemski Polacco and Fisk Frankenstein.
I like that.
After the 1972 season, Red Sox pitcher John Curtis wrote a newspaper story about trying to explain to his wife why he loved Luis Tiant.
Please tell me I can read this somewhere.
I'm sure you can.
Please tell me I can.
I didn't look. I should have looked that up. I'm sorry.
I need to read this somewhere.
I didn't complete my research. Dwight Evans would later say, "Unless you've played with him, you can't understand what Luis means to a team." Yeah. Tiant's physical appearance was part of his charm. Red Smith once wrote that he looked like Pancho Villa after a tough week of looting and burning.
That is an insane. Please tell me that is on like a plaque somewhere.
It should be.
It should be.
Well, we'll make one.
If that was me, they put that on my grave.
Burns, but I'll tell you what.
If that was me, they put that on my grave.
Write into us and say something to us at baseballhistorytimemachine.com, and we are going to make a photo of Luis Tiant, and I will forge. I'll forge his signature on it, but it will say underneath, you as a computer guy will have Pancho Villa after a tough week, and we will send a framed picture of Luis Tiant to someone out there. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds great. I love that. I actually love that.
That'd
be cool.
Because who wouldn't want that on there? We'll make 2. We'll make for ourselves.
I was about to say, can I not have it? Can you not just give it to me? I want that. Yeah.
Now, Boston writer Tim Horgan later suggested that Tiant's visage belongs on Mount Rushmore. A barrel-chested man who looked fatter than he really was, Tiant would often emerge from the shower with a cigar in his mouth, look at his naked body in the mirror, and declare himself to be, in his exaggerated Spanish accent, good-looking son of a bitch.
Oh my God. This dude, he should be made into a comic. This is insane.
Yeah. The Adventures of Luis Tiant. What if he was accidentally a superhero as well? He was
Can you imagine it being drawn in the Tintin style?
I can, but you also got to remember his dad was kept in Cuba because of Fidel Castro.
Yeah, that's true.
The whole baseball thing, which I'm going to get to.
This dude, it's hard to not, like, honestly, if you listen to this episode, right, and you do not love him as much as I love him or Indy loves him, right?
I grew up with him, man.
Then I don't know what to tell you. Then baseball maybe isn't for you. Baseball just isn't for you. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Pancho Villa after a tough week of looting and burning.
That's the most. That's the
Shall I continue on the good or the bad after 1974?
Yeah, let's go.
1975, he had issues. Now, he did win 18 games, close to another 20-game season, and the Sox won the division. No worries there. And as a clutch pitcher, his only 2 shutouts of the season were in late September. Remember, he hadn't seen his father since 1961, right? Dad's in Cuba. He did, as we saw last time, see his mother in 1968 in Mexico City. But finally, in 1975, Fidel Castro allowed a reunion of father and son. And it colored Luis's thoughts all summer until on August 21st, his parents landed at Logan Airport in Boston.
Like not seeing your dad for 14 years, not by choice, but by government, that's bullshit. I had to suffer something similar because of COVID and because of me being kept here because of the...
because of the working permission.
Yeah, because of the working thing and COVID or whatever. So it's not 14 years. 14 years is insane. But like I can sympathize because I didn't see my dad from like December 31st. I flew back to Sweden 2019. And the first time I saw my dad again was when he came and visited
when
in
I met
2023.
him,
That's right. Yeah.
He's a cool dad, you guys.
Yeah, I love my dad.
Cool guy.
Dad's the best. But yeah, that like not being able to see like your parent, like even a sibling, I can imagine.
4 years is a long time.
4 years is a long time.
Check this
14.
Out. Here's would your dad or my dad or anybody out there, would any of your dads do this? Okay. And this is another quote.
Okay.
On August 26th, the Red Sox arranged for Luis's parents to be introduced to the crowd and for his father to throw out the ceremonial first pitch. Remember, his father was an MLB player in the Negro Leagues and stuff, right? After a prolonged ovation, the 69-year-old Tiant, standing on the Fenway Park mound adorned in a brown suit and a Red Sox cap, took off his coat and handed it to his son. He went into his full windup and fired a fastball to catcher Tim Blackwell. Alas, low and away. Looking vaguely annoyed, he asked for the ball back.
He's like, I gotta redo it. I gotta give me a moment.
Yep, he did. I mean, nobody else says it's the first pitch. Nah, I do better. But once more, he used his full windup and he floated a knuckleball across the heart of the plate. And the fans roared as he left the field. His son later commented, "He told me he was ready to go 4 or 5 innings anytime."
That's incredible. After hearing about him last time, I bet he was. Like, I bet he was like just pumped up from the crowd.
A knuckleball.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine how pumped up he must have been?
Back in the States, after he hadn't been since 1961. Yeah. Now the younger Tiant, our Luis, was hit hard, was really rocked in that start and his next one, but he did have back issues at the time.
Okay.
And then after a 10-day rest, he's back on the beam, impressing, yes, even his father, shutting out Jim Palmer in front of 40,000 Bostonians. And then, here we go.
Yeah.
You got to take this to the next level.
Yeah, of course.
It's the postseason. Now, Tiant appeared in relief for 2/3 of an inning in the 1970 playoffs with the Twins, but he'd never really properly pitched in the postseason.
Wow. Did he start the first game of the playoffs?
Damn right. And he was on a 3-hitter and 1 unearned run. Now the Red Sox swept the A's in the divisional series. World Series up next.
But he started game 1?
Yeah, damn right. Again, come on, he's on a roll. It's Luis Tiant, he's on a roll.
That is the definition of riding the hot hand.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And in game 1 of the World Series, 5-hit shutout of Cincinnati's Big Red Machine. And he also pitched game 4, but he was not really sharp.
Did he get the loss?
No. He got in jam after jam, but he pitched out of all of the jams. He threw a complete game. He won 5-4 after 163 pitches. And then he started game 6, one of the most, if not the most, famous games of baseball ever played.
Listen to me, Indy. If you cut it here, I'll scream. Please.
You want me to tell you the tale?
Please.
Well, we've done that before. I like telling World Series games.
I'm listening. I am
okay.
here.
Now you got to remember, after the collapse of '74, Red Sox fans were worried about '75. Yeah, but this was a different team, powered by the 2 amazing rookies, Jim Rice and Fred Lynn.
Come on, these guys I know. Like Jim Rice is in the Hall of Fame, right?
He is, but Freddie Lynn,
Yeah.
I got to call him Freddie because he was Freddie when I was a kid. I don't know if people still call him Freddie, but he was Freddie when I was a kid. Now he's Fred Lynn, but he was Freddie Lynn, right? Yeah. Freddie Lynn owned 1975, becoming the first rookie ever to win the MVP award.
Really?
He led the league in doubles, runs, slugging, OPS. He was second in WAR and average to Rod Carew.
Okay, being second in batting average to Rod Carew is not a bad thing.
That means you're good.
Because he's in that list of people who came really close to hitting 400 in a season,
and
along with Tony Gwynn and
Wade Boggs.
Yeah, that's it.
So, but no. You mean George Brett? Yeah.
George Brett. Sorry, yeah. George Brett.
No, but Boggs actually hit 400 over a calendar 100.
That's right. That's right. So that's insane. Yeah. That's fast.
Now, but let's look at their opposition, the Big Red Machine. The Reds won 108 games. That's a 667 winning percentage. They won the division by 20 games over the Dodgers. Like, the Dodgers won 88 games, and they were 20 games out of first place. Now, after 5 games of the World Series, the Reds are up 3-2. And Tiant has the 2 Boston wins, right?
Yeah.
Game 6 begins. In the first inning, Freddie Lynn hits a 3-run homer off Gary Nolan. Tiant keeps the door shut until the 4th, when with 2 guys on, Ken Griffey, who I just call Ken Griffey, but I guess I should call Ken Griffey Sr., hits a triple to center, right? Lynn nearly catches it on the wall and misses, that's why it's a triple, and injures his ribs. But he stays in the game, but damage done. It's a 2-run score. Johnny Bench singles home Griffey, tie game.
Okay.
2 outs in the 7th. Tiant gets in trouble. George Foster hits a 2-out, 2-run double. In the 8th, Cesar Geronimo hits a solo hook. God, that Red team, they were stacked.
That's
they were
insane.
Stacked. It was every player on that team.
Every player on that team is insane. Like the names you just mentioned.
Dan George Foster, Johnny Bench, they're stacked from top to bottom. Geronimo hits a solo homer. The Reds are up 6-3 after 7.5 innings. Now, Lynn singles in the bottom half of the inning, bouncing the ball off of reliever Pedro Bourbon's leg. And then he issues a walk. So the tying runs, there's 2 guys on. Yeah. Tying run is at the plate. Cincinnati's hot rookie reliever, Raleigh Eastwick, who led the National League in saves and then did again the next year, replaces Bourbon and gets 2 quick outs. 2 outs, right? Boston pinch hits Bernie Carbo because it's the pitcher up, right?
Yeah.
There's no universal DH.
Yeah, exactly. The pitcher had to be able to hit.
A side note about Bernie Carbo, courtesy of the Boston Globe.
Okay.
He spent the early part of Game 6 working on his Louisville Slugger. I'm sitting there and I'm whittling this bat. I took a lathe and took all the polish off. It's nice and smooth. Rick Wise is sitting next to me and says, you can't use that bat. It doesn't have an emblem on it. So as the game was going, I took a magic marker and wrote Louisville Slugger on it. That's how I kept myself amused, right?
That's cartoonish, by the way.
Carbo is up to bat against Raleigh Eastwick. Yep. The count goes to 2-2, and then Carbo barely fouls off 2 pitches. I mean, he looks completely overmatched. He is going to strike out and end the threat.
Okay.
Instead, he hits a 3-run homer to center field to tie the game. And when he passes Pete Rose while he's jogging around the bases, he says to Rose, "Don't you wish you were that strong?" And Rose says, and this is one of the greatest quotes, and you can see this online. Yeah. Rose says, "Ain't this fun, Bernie? This is what the World Series is about. This is fun."
To be in that sort of high leverage game and to have that banter.
Pete Rose loved baseball more than anyone, right?
That's insane.
Here's a quote about Bernie Carbo's homer.
Okay.
Johnny Bench said after the game, it looked like a little leaguer learning how to hit. Pete Rose said it was the worst swing he ever saw. Don Zimmer said he thought it was all over. Rico Petrocelli said it looked like a pitcher who hurt his arm trying to make a comeback as a hitter. But he's tied Game 6 of the World Series.
They can flame him as what as he wants. He has tied the game.
And like he said to Rose, "Don't you wish you were that strong?" All right.
That's insane.
And in the bottom of the 9th, the Red Sox load the bases with no outs, but get nothing.
So we're going
to extra. That was the 8th. Bernie Carbo did it in the 8th, right?
We get extra baseball.
We get extra baseball. And in the top of the 11th, the Reds nearly score, but Dewey Evans robs Joe Morgan with an amazing catch, and it's still tied.
Another name. But it's just...
Yeah. But nobody fielded like Evans, man. The Reds put 2 men on in the 12th, but nope. And then in the bottom of the 12th, Carlton Fisk comes up on a 1-0 count. Hits a sinker high down the left field line. Ned Martin spent 30 years covering the Red Sox, and this is what he says. The 1-0 delivery to Fisk. He swings, Long drive, left field. If it stays fair, it's gone. Home run! The Red Sox win, and the series is tied 3 games apiece. Now, Fisk actually hits it off the foul pole, but it goes fair. The pole is renamed Fisk's pole.
Okay, that was a lot. I'm sweating. So the series is tied 3 games apiece. We're going to Game 7.
Yeah, we're going to Game 7.
The best thing in all of sports.
Yeah,
Game 7. Game 7 is the best thing in all of sports.
We're going to Game 7.
Okay. So please, enlighten me and the listeners.
Okay.
What was Game 7 like?
It's a great game. The Sox are up 3-0 for a while, but going into the 9th inning, it's tied 3-3. But after an intentional walk to Pete Rose to bring up Joe Morgan, yes, they walk Pete Rose to bring up the actual MVP. The actual MVP. He hits a bloop single that scores Griffey with what would be the series-winning run.
One for the ages.
One of the most exciting series of all time, and well done, Luis Tiant.
Yeah.
I mean, he was at the height of his fame with that crazy delivery that faced everyone in the stadium at some point in the game. And deliveries the New Yorker magazine called "Call the Osteopath," "Out of the Woodshed," and "The Runaway Taxi." Because he delivered from different angles,
Yeah,
too.
of course, yeah. But what happened to his parents?
They got to stay in the States. They did. And it was good that his dad came because he died in December 1976 after Tiant again won 21 games, but with a roughly 500 team. Now, Tiant was still good in 77 and 78 and won 3 games down the stretch at the end of 78, including the last regular season game after the Sox had mostly recovered from yet another collapse, to force a playoff game for the division title with the Yankees. But Ron Guidry beat Mike Torres in that game to send the Yankees onwards. But after that season, in which he won his 200th career game, right?
Good.
He was offered only a 1-year contract, so he went to the Yankees. And like Yaz and Dewey and everybody were absolutely gutted.
Of course.
They said, you don't understand what Tiant means to this, Luis Tiant means to this team. He had one good season with New York, and then the usual career twilight fade, and he finished up 229 wins and 172 losses, and he died at the age of 83 in 2024.
Man, what a fucking legend.
I remember the cigars. I remember the 180-degree wind-up the most from when I was like 10 years old, man.
That's iconic.
Yeah.
That's iconic.
Tiant was awesome, man.
That is so iconic. Yeah. Like, all right. And let me not get over sentimental here.
Yeah.
But how can you not?
You can't.
How can you not
Luis
get?
Tiant,
how
man.
could you not?
I knew you were gonna love this guy.
How could you not get sentimental about this?
Somebody's gonna get the Pancho Villa quote picture framed from us.
That is, I want that on a Letterman jacket.
Yeah, but I don't know if we have. That's gonna cost a lot of money with the postage and stuff.
I want that on a Letterman.
Yeah, but we can make it.
Yeah, we can make it for ourselves.
And we'll send photos.
Okay. So, all right. Let me just gather myself here.
Yeah.
Who is next on the 19 strikeout list?
Steve Carlton is next on the list. Okay. He's actually the first guy who did it in a 9-inning game after 1884, but I will talk about another time.
I can see that coming. Is this it for today?
It sure is, but we will be back, even though it's summertime, with more of this every other Sunday.
But come and talk to us at baseballhistorytimemachine.com. I love talking baseball. I talk their ears off in the group chat. And I hardly talk to anybody. I just speak to myself about baseball most of the time.
Yeah, and on Facebook and Insta too.
Please,
sure, why not?
Please.
Oh, and here's a question. A question for everybody out there. An odd side question. Now, I have an idea for a series that I want to do. A video series about a specific aspect of baseball history that I think would be really groundbreaking, and I'm pretty sure would be popular. You know, like my YouTube series, World War II, Korea, they were popular. I think this would be, but I can't do it with that. I want to do it with a separate company. So I'd like to talk to someone from either SABR, the Baseball Hall of Fame, or even MLB about supporting it, because I know it has broad appeal and all, but I don't have any direct connections at those places. So anybody who does, please let me know at baseballhistorytimemachine.com. All right, that is it for today. From me, Indy Neidell.
And me, Burns.
And the Baseball History Time Machine.
That's an old-timer.